Today we celebrate the feast of Saint Luke the Evangelist, one of the four gospel writers. We hold up these men because they gave us the very grounds of written down of what we have of Jesus. There are four gospel animals, allegory and art, that come from Ezekiel chapter 1. They are all associated with each one of these gospel writers, and each animal Matthew is associated with a person because of the genealogy and because of the human-like teachings of Jesus. They might be up there somewhere. In the other church too, they might be there. Matthew has a person because of the genealogy of Jesus. Mark is a lion because Jesus is the Lion of Judah, and he is very strong in the immediacy of the narrative. John is an eagle because the soaring theological discourses descend down into the action. And then finally, Luke is an ox. Person, lion, ox, eagle. We're focusing on Luke the ox today. I want you to imagine whatever last farm you were at, whatever last Blue Ribbon State Fair you were at, the biggest, baddest ox you can imagine. Just feel that as it moves a little bit and stomps on the ground, you can just feel its huge hooves putting all ton of its weight on the cement. That is an ox, and that is the sacrificial animal. That is the highest sacrificial animal that you can give to God. What they would do in Jerusalem is when a child was born, they would bring a fatling, and they would also bring an ox, if you could afford it. Mary and Joseph could only afford a little lamb and 2 turtle doves, I think it was. So if you're rich, and if you want to show God that you love him, you won't donate just a little sheep to be killed, or just a little duck or a goose or anything. No, you're going to go the full boar, and by full boar I mean full ox. By donating your entire massive ox, you've lost a massive part of your farming operation. Could you just give a John Deere tractor, or Alice Chalmers, sorry, I don't want to start a fight, whatever color tractors are around here. That's like giving up a tractor with no questions asked. And so because the sacrificial animal that represents Jesus in Luke's gospel is an ox, that means that he is the biggest, the weightiest, the costliest, and most expensive sacrifice possible. And even more than the weight and the girth of that entire ox, even more so, we feel the weight of Jesus' sacrifice in the cross, in the Eucharist, and when it's united to our own lives. And so if the people back then thought enough that an ox is the ultimate sacrifice when it comes to barnyard animals giving up to God, what is it that we can give to God? I want my farm and I want my homestead to be well economized. Or I want it to be well run and do well. So I'm just going to give a little sheep. You know, that won't really matter much in the long scheme of things. Or maybe a donkey. Maybe that donkey had a lame leg. I don't need him anymore. But if I volunteer to offer up to God the ox on my team, the strongest one, that's saying that I trust God, and that's also saying that I love God, that I will give him this. So our reflection for today can be, what are your little sheep? What are your little donkeys with lame legs? And what are your oxes? The core, center, quarterback of your oxing plowing team that you don't want to give up, that God might be asking. I have mine. I don't want to give them up. But when we give God everything, all our means, all our joys, even our struggles and our pains, it comes to weigh even more than that massive blue ribbon ox at the state fair. And it weighs almost as much as the Eucharist that we get to receive back into ourselves when we come forward to the altar of God. Amen.